Carlo Cottarelli, head of the IMF Fiscal Affairs Department. You are releasing today the update of the Fiscal Monitor. What are the major changes compared to the last issue?
Actually, the major revision relates to the largest advanced economy, the United States, where revenues are flowing in a bit faster than we expected. Spending is taking place a bit more slowly. And as a result, we are revising down the projected deficit for the United States, fiscal deficit, by about 1 percentage point of GDP. It remains a very large deficit. We are projecting for the general government, which is the federal government, the states, and the local governments all together. We are projecting a deficit of 10% of GDP, which is still very large, but it is a bit smaller than before. And this is good news for this year. It's also good news for next year because it will be easier to achieve the 2012 targets in a smoother path.
So what are the major challenges for advanced economies?
For advanced economies, the key challenge remains to continue the process of fiscal adjustment that for most of them has started this year. For the two largest advanced countries, United States and Japan, the fiscal adjustment process has not even started this year, so this country needs to define a fiscal adjustment plan for the medium term that is specific enough in terms not only of goals, but also in terms of tools to achieve those goals. For European countries, for European advanced countries, it is very important that they reach agreement on a comprehensive plan on how to address, how to manage the case of countries that are under a fiscal crisis.
The public accounts of most emerging market economies look much better than advanced economies, but you still have some advice for them as well.
And for emerging economies, the main challenge is to tighten fiscal policy to avoid the pressures of overheating that are already apparent in many of them.
How can the US achieve a medium-term fiscal adjustment without jeopardizing the recovery and job creation?
There is an issue of timing, first of all. Fiscal cuts that are too much too soon are not good for economic recovery, but so is excessive delay, because this would lead to market reaction and increase in interest rate, which also would not be very good for economic growth. So you need to strike the right balance.
Countries that have been hit by natural disasters need to spend on reconstruction efforts. Can this be balanced with fiscal discipline?
Countries that start from a relatively strong fiscal position like New Zealand and Australia can afford a gradual adjustment over the medium term. Japan's fiscal accounts are not in a very strong position, so the priority for Japan remains to identify a medium-term fiscal adjustment plan that is sufficiently clear in terms of goals and in terms of tools.